is knob polishing?
You're going to make me say this. I am a neglected man.
I like to think that I look like a Jack, even though my name's really Bob.
Does he have danglers or something?
Well, it's time to go do them lighthouse duties.
Sitting in the cheese at the old Walmart to cool off.
That should be the headline. Man tasered in the nuts after stealing beef.
Yeah, but you're not going to sit in the cheese. You're not going to sit in the cheese, and you're not going to put ribeyes down your pants either.
House cleaning is secondary. So what is the Viagra triangle?
Possibly we aid in your digestion.
I don't know if his little hand is smaller than his little ears or what.
Aw, well, maybe he has a syndrome.
Want to go check out my RV? It's parked right around the corner. Because I'm pretty sure that I saw some moose knuckle.
No.
There is absolutely some moose knuckle going on.
My swampy friend. What the hell is a swampy friend?
I know. So they're not going to get any scraping on their shaft.
Yes, I'm going to do a downward dog.
Okay, pretty lady. You had on those gosh darn sexy leather looking shorts.
Ladies and gentlemen, and assholes, gather around. It's time for another action-packed episode of
Trouble in Paradise.
Hi, I'm Nigel Kent.
And I'm Jazmine Star.
And welcome to Trouble in Paradise,
where we talk about everything amazing, auspicious, awkward, and sometimes even ass-tastic here in Southwest Florida.
Yep, amazing, awkward, auspicious, ass-tastic. It is Saturday. We're in August already, and we are live right now in prime time. So we've had some fits and starts with live streaming. So if you have any problems with our stream, it's your fault. It's not our fault. So we're not going to apologize for that. We have a full stack of stuff.
Lots of stuff.
A lot of stuff has happened over the last couple of weeks because we've been preoccupied working on a missing persons case with a couple of other podcasters and a whole bunch of other folks. And we are done working on that case now.
And we are back.
We are back. This is episode 33 of Trouble in Paradise.
You know what? I love the number 33.
Why is that, Jazmine Star?
Well, because I love numerology. I always wore the number 33 in playing basketball.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
When you played for the
Detroit Shock,
WNBA?
Yeah.
How many seasons did you play?
Just my second season was shortened because of the incident.
So not quite 2 seasons, but
No.
you did have the team record for assists in a season.
Yeah.
Detroit Shock, Jazmine Star, look it up, number 33. So what's
Yeah,
significant
so-
about the number 33?
So, yes, the master numbers are 11, 22, and 33. So the master teacher number is 33 and gives off the most loving vibration of all the numbers. Master number 33 should be used to acquire a greater understanding of people and how to help them. And that's what we're here to do is, if we're not helping, at least entertaining and spreading some awareness.
At least spreading a little bit of joy and love.
And love.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we hope to do so with several topics this evening. But we probably need to keep that master teacher number in mind because we do want to be loving and supportive and kind and positive this evening as we go through these topics.
Well, I think there's a full moon too.
Oh, well.
We got
that explains why our live stream is actually working for a change. My laptop hasn't crashed yet, so that's good.
Yep.
But the stuff that happened over the last couple of weeks is actually pretty crazy stuff, like the Ghislaine Maxwell documents being unsealed from the defamation case that she was involved in a few years ago. Mm-hmm. And boy, oh boy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at Hollywood right now.
Yeah.
Holy
freak out zone.
Whoa.
Hollywood is losing their shit. And as well they should.
As well as the people that live there. Yeah. I hate to say it, but welcome to the awakening.
Yep. To the awakening. Hashtag. Oh, can't say that too loudly. Don't want to get banned.
Don't want to be censored.
So in the meantime, speaking of censored, we also have to talk about some things that came up at the antitrust hearing where it was really fun to watch all these asshole billionaires sit there and just get, basically badmouthed by politicians
in their
that don't know
seats.
any better. It's telling to see how little some of these politicians actually.
But what does that say about us that we're taking such joy in watching them sweat it out? And
I'm a libertarian, so I don't ever want to see private business people get harassed by the government. And in fact, I think most private business people do get harassed by the government regularly in the form of taxes. Mm-hmm. But I'm kind of rooting for them because there's something that's even worse than that, and that is censorship, which all of these companies, Twitter, Facebook, Google, and Amazon, are actively engaged in. And it's so well documented. It's just to sit the way they just look at these people that are grilling them with a straight face like a robot and not own up to any of it. It really blows the mind.
Yeah. And some of their answers too are just, it just, they can't formulate a sentence.
It's doublespeak. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about and again, we're going to focus specifically on one angle of censorship, which is the Epstein Island censorship that's going on Google Maps, which we covered in pretty great detail in a previous episode.
Yep.
And but now we're going to integrate some of our other data from Apple Maps and talk about some other oddities that we've noticed.
Yeah.
And of course, thanks to Ghislaine Maxwell, and I think her name's Virginia or Victoria Giuffre, the defendant in the defamation suit. Thanks to her disclosures, we now know that Bill Clinton was a visitor to Epstein Island on multiple occasions, which I think everybody knew, but this is just more evidence, mounting evidence against him. Plus, we had a conversation with somebody locally here in South Florida who provided testimony about a false positive, a COVID-19 false positive. I'm Nigel Kent. Nice to meet you, Donna. And this is Jazmine.
It's a pleasure meeting you.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing good, doing good.
Awesome. So, you told me an interesting story. I met you at work, which we're not going to talk about your work or anything like that, but you told me an interesting story right off the rip when we met. And I wanted to make sure, first of all, that everybody in your house is still well and healthy.
Yeah, they're doing well. I hope your family is doing well as well. Is it okay if we talk about that story? Like,
yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah. So basically, and let me know if the audio, cuts in or out, because my Wi-Fi at times can be absolute garbage. But what's it called? So my mother, she has a coworker who was at risk because she had a family friend that she got in contact with recently, and their friend that got tested positive for corona. And so she was at risk and she couldn't go back to work until she got a test that proved otherwise. And she thought it would be better if she go to ones in Miami because there wasn't such a long of a wait because people are getting tested left and right. And so, and she had family over there, so she would just slip under the radar and go with them so she can get tests and she can get to work as soon as possible. The day of her test, she had an appointment and everything at a certain time and all that. The day of her test, she was like, no, it's too risky. Like, if I go to Miami, it's a hot spot, I might get it there even after I get my test, like blah, blah, blah. And so she called the office over in Miami and she's like, hey guys, you know what, second thought, I'm going to cancel my appointment. And, nothing wrong in that. Like, you just, the risk is too great. No big deal. So the office told her, okay, no worries, ma'am. Hope you have a great day. Blah, blah, blah. So she's chilling at home. She's, just doing her thing. And then my mom told me that the office that she canceled on for the appointment later that same day in the afternoon called her and said, hey, ma'am, unfortunately, we ran your test and you tested positive. She never took the test, long story short. But the same office that she canceled on called her later that day saying that she tested positive. But she never went. She never got the nose thing, no injections, nothing.
So is this a physician's office that was in Miami, or was she going to like a lab or one of the drive-through testing centers? Do you know?
If she canceled that day, probably either the lab or like the drive-through ones. But I mean, either way, they called her back saying that she got positive, and she was telling me that the tests that people are receiving, like the test results, are just not accurate whatsoever, and that they're just throwing out incorrect ones left and right. I tested negative. I got my test like about a week ago. Who knows? Who knows what people are actually feeling or not? You know what I mean?
Has your mom been sick of late?
No. Sorry, my phone turned off. Anyways, what's it called? No, she's been perfectly healthy, thank God. She hasn't been feeling any symptoms at all whatsoever. And believe it or not, the only reason why my mother and I got tested is because my father fell ill and he actually tested positive.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but don't get it mixed up though. He got a secondary test like, I want to say like 5 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
And these past 5 days, he's been feeling better. He shaved. He recently called back into work and had a meeting with them, and with precautionary measures, 6 feet distance and a mask. But he's recovering well, and yeah. So the only person
you receive.
I'm sorry.
What kind of treatment did your father receive? Do you know what sort of drugs he was given in that?
Yeah, it's sitting on his dresser somewhere. It's a bunch of like vitamins and vitamin C boosters, vitamin E boosters. But he also took like Mucinex, like here and there, like just basic, like over the counter stuff that anybody can get their hands on.
That's interesting. I've read a couple stories about people getting calls, a lot of people in Florida getting calls from different testing locations that are saying that they have positive results when either they later tested negative outright or never actually had their specimen taken to begin with, which is kind of scary because that begs the question, what the hell are they doing with these false positive? Either people are clumsy and making mistakes, which is scary, or this is being done on purpose, which is scary. Do you have an opinion on that, Don?
Yeah, I very much do. And I'll be honest with you, man. First of all, there's so many people out there right now in the world, not just in the United States, but all around the world, that are getting tested left and right. There's so many tests being brought back into the test labs and all that the people are being overrun by how many different tests they have to go through in a day, in an hour, in a minute, in a second. These tests that are being run for each individual like sample is being done inaccurately. And so numbers are being skipped. Yeah, like numbers are being added, numbers are being rounded up, rounded down, like some people and the thing is that I simply do not believe that the numbers that are out there in cases and the number of people that are actually dying, because I mean, I know people are dying from this regardless, yeah, but the numbers that they're putting out there and number of cases and deaths doesn't add up to me. It really doesn't.
That occurred
without even taking the test.
Yeah. That's pretty crazy. They just
that was the big kicker.
Yeah.
The test was never performed and they received the results.
Don't you think it's time we picked some poison?
I think so.
Yeah, I do too. And as is always the tradition in Pick Your Poison.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
It's going to be, well then what am I going to say?
Ladies first.
Ladies first. That's right.
I just got to let that music simmer there real quick.
Let the music simmer. Get you in the mood for Pick Your Poison.
Nigel, pick your poison. Would you rather be rich and alone or poor and surrounded by family and friends?
B. I'd rather be poor and surrounded by family and friends. I think anybody who doesn't answer that way is an idiot. That's a deep one. Usually your pick your poison questions are about, would you rather vomit every time you see a butterfly, or like they're usually like bizarre questions. But
well, maybe I switched it up a little bit and catered towards some of our topics a little bit.
yeah, I definitely would rather be poor and surrounded by family and friends than rich and alone, because I think once you become rich and alone, you turn into Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates, and they don't do positive things anymore for humanity. I think it's safe to say that they have moved beyond doing positive things for humanity. Jazmine Star,
Yes, sir.
it's time for you to pick your poison. Would you rather every shirt you ever wear be kind of itchy, or every pair of pants you ever wear be kind of itchy?
My shirt.
Why?
Because I don't want to be digging in my crotch or my butt, like with itchy
You
pants.
just be digging in your underboobs and your
Yeah.
and your armpits and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a thing for women. Like sequin tops are like a bitch, and like they get itchy. So I mean, it's not uncommon, but like,
Is that because of the way they're constructed? Like
well, they're scratchy and stuff like that. So sometimes they're not as comfortable as this Cleveland Indian jersey. But yeah, I'm going with the shirt.
going with rather have an itchy shirt than an itchy pants.
Yeah, I'm not digging.
I think I concur with that. Although right now, if I were wearing itchy pants, nobody would know because they can only see the top half of me.
They might. Do you even have pants on? Nigel, would you rather be wrongfully convicted of murder or commit murder and get away with it?
Oh boy. God, that is a tough one. Because you know how I feel about you know why I'm against the death penalty and stuff, because a lot of people have been put to death that didn't do it. That is a tough one. I mean, obviously I don't want to murder anybody, first and foremost.
Right.
So I think I have to say that I would,
Morally be a martyr and
yeah. And,
take the licks that are
yeah, I suppose.
undeserved.
But here's the thing, though. If somebody is wrongfully convicted, the piece of the equation that never gets remembered is somewhere out there is the guy that actually did it, and he's still out there. Mm-hmm. So, but no, I don't. In order to choose the latter, you basically would have to commit murder, and I'm not willing to do that. So,
That's refreshing.
yeah, well, yeah, I choose to be wrongfully convicted in that case. Okay, Jazmine Star. Man, you got these deep ones, and I got the silly ones tonight. Like,
Role reversal.
would you rather have edible spaghetti hair that regrows every night, or sweat maple syrup?
Edible spaghetti hair.
Why?
Because I freaking love pasta.
You love maple syrup too, don't you?
Love me some pasta.
You just wake up every morning and be like, "Oh, breakfast."
Well, no, because then I would be all sticky. And you would like walk around like some like toddler. You know how like toddlers are kind of sticky?
Well, to most toddlers, their fingers smell like maple syrup already.
Well, yeah.
Like a toddler's blanket always
Yeah.
smells like breakfast syrup.
Would you want me to get in and out of your car if I were sticky like maple syrup?
Well, my car's pretty dirty as it is, but no, I agree with you, because if like, we could carb up. I could eat your hair. You know what that reminds me of?
I just went right into the gutter there. It's, I think, time to move on.
No, it reminds me of the Play-Doh barbershop play set where you squeeze and the hair comes out of the thing. Yeah,
Okay,
whatever.
you had a much more...
Okay, moving on.
Okay. Nigel, would you rather be a best-selling author whose material is censored by the editor and publishing company, or be totally autonomous and uncensored but never gain a large audience.
Okay, so you want me to be... You're asking me to choose between being very successful as a censored author...
Yes.
Or very unsuccessful as an uncensored author.
Exactly.
Oh, man. Well, you know that I don't really care a whole lot about success as an author. So I'm going to say that I care more about censorship than fame. And so therefore I would choose to be an unsuccessful, uncensored author.
Than to be a best-selling...
Yeah, this is kind of these are like moral dilemmas, right?
Right.
Ethical dilemmas. Yeah, who wants to sell out? Isn't that what the whole theme of this episode is going to be? I think we have a theme here.
We might have a theme.
We don't do themes in Pick Your Poison, though, do we?
No, not traditionally.
Okay. Jazmine Star, would you rather have to read aloud every word you read or sing everything you say out loud?
Sing everything I say out loud.
You'd rather have to sing? You'd have to do a whole podcast episode singing the entire thing.
Well, we would lose our 54 subscribers.
Yeah, what remains of our audience would just disappear.
Yeah, but
So
no. I would
You'd rather sing than have to read aloud everything that you read. Yeah, because what if you were reading like something private, right? Everybody would be able to hear it around you.
Right.
Okay.
Or like all your text messages. Like you're on Twitter and you're reading every tweet out loud. I mean, people would hate you.
You'd be scrolling and just meh.
I think they'd hate you either way, or at least hate me either way. Either reading all that crap out loud or singing, but regardless. Nigel,
Jasmine?
Would you rather accidentally send nudes to your boss or to your mom?
Oh, boy. Would I rather accidentally send nudes? Nude photos?
What else do you think we're talking about?
Videos?
Could be.
Oh. Now, photos, I think it's easily explained. I think we had a similar Pick Your Poison where you asked me something about my mom or a coworker a while back, and I was like, definitely my mom.
No, it was mom and kids.
Oh, that's what it was. You're right.
That was the dilemma there.
But I did pick my mom because I'm like, Mom's been there. She's seen all this crap. I was butt naked the first time she met me, so she knows what I look like already.
Yeah, but how are you going to explain that to your mother?
Hey, Mom, we all do it, and I'm sorry I accidentally sent you mine. Please delete them as soon as possible. But I would hope that they wouldn't be like... I mean, I don't do ultra-graphic nudes. When I take my nudes, they're very tasteful, Jazmine Star. I'm not going to share any with you, because I don't want to start any rumors out there.
Wondering. Okay, who is?
Yeah, let's move on. Jazmine Star, you've just made a deal that you can't unmake. To hold up your end of the deal, you have to either high five everyone you meet for the rest of your life, or give wedgies to everyone in a green shirt that you meet for the rest of your life. I guess that's the answer. High five.
Nigel.
That's an easy one, right?
Yeah. Would you rather have a weird-looking smile or a weird-sounding laugh?
Well, I think I have both. So,
I mean, you could really get like a creepy McCreeperson smile, though. Like, like really
like
weird.
A Jack Nicholson Joker smile.
Or just something really... Let's do your best weird smile just for our viewers.
It's not funny. It's actually unattractive looking, isn't it? So that is a weird smile.
Yeah, if you...
Why don't you do your best weird smile for our viewers then?
Huh?
Why don't you do your best weird smile?
My best weird smile?
Yeah, I'm going to move your mug out of your
gladly.
directions. Okay, weird smile. Oh my gosh, that's way weirder than mine. Would I rather have a weird smile or a weird laugh? I guess I'd probably rather have a weird laugh because lots of people have a weird laugh and it's not considered unattractive or.
Oh, but I mean,
it's not a net negative.
Think of like Janice on Friends or something like that.
What did you just say? Friends, that TV show that I've never seen and don't care about.
Yeah.
Does she have a weird smile or something?
Her laugh.
Oh, she has a weird laugh.
Yeah. Like, I mean, no, I can imitate her laugh. Like,
Let's hear it.
I get back from the mic a little bit because I don't want to blow it out. But
let's hear
she'd
it.
be like, "Oh my God, Chandler Bing." Like, would you?
She sounds like, well, like that would be more New Yorky than anybody.
But like, if you went around like that, like, like every time you laughed.
I mean,
Okay, so smile or laugh?
I'd rather have the weird laugh than the weird smile, for sure. Okay.
All right.
Would you rather have to fart loudly every time you have a serious conversation?
Sorry, farts are just funny to me.
Or have to burp very loudly after every kiss?
Oh. Wait, repeat the fart part?
Would you rather have to fart loudly every time you have a serious conversation? It's funny stuff, huh? It's funny to you.
Well, I'm putting it like I'm visualizing all of this,
Like
and
a
that's
job
what,
interview or something?
yeah, or burp.
Or you're really just giving the kids like a real serious talking to, like you're giving them a big lecture and then you just rip one. That'd be great.
Well, that would
They would think
they've
it was
experienced that before. So
awesome. Or you have to burp. You just rip a
After every
giant
kiss?
burp after every kiss. Yeah.
I'm going with the fart.
Going with the fart.
Going with the fart.
Oh, we're
Fart.
9. We're 9.
Farts are funny, and burping after every time you kiss somebody, it would probably be explain why I've been divorced so many times. Just see. All right, last one here.
She couldn't stop burping. Anyway, we're 9, right? We're 9 years old. Power number 9. Okay, go.
Would you rather interview Ghislaine Maxwell or Anthony Fauci right now?
Oh, brother. Are they going to tell me the truth? Don't know.
Don't know, but I mean, you would have the opportunity where you could choose one or the other right now. Which one would be on your list of who you would like
Oh, boy.
to interview?
I think, honestly, I know I'm more consistent and confident in my beliefs about the pandemic than I am about everything that went on with Epstein and Maxwell and the global pedophilia cabal. Mm-hmm. So I think I probably would rather interview Ghislaine Maxwell. And who knows, if I did interview her, I might be one of the last people to see her alive before somebody goes into her and Epstein's her in her prison cell. Yeah, I'd pick Ghislaine Maxwell. Plus, with Fauci, I mean, I don't see. The thing is, like Ghislaine Maxwell, I don't know if she's smug and condescending, and like I know she's an asshole, but I don't know if she's got that elite sort of down talking attitude of smugness and condescension that just. I feel like you could smell that. If Fauci was in the
know
room.
that you've never seen Friends, but have you
we just
seen?
talk about this?
Have you seen Ace Ventura? At
Yes.
least.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so just when I think of interviewing Fauci, I think about that scene where he's like bent over and like grabs his butt cheeks and he's like, "Excuse me, can I ask you a question?" Like, would you really get a straight answer?
Oh man, yeah. I don't. Well, I mean, Fauci was getting grilled again by some committee. I don't know what committee it was, but I caught a little bit of it on Twitter earlier yesterday. You were showing it to me.
Yeah.
And he would not commit. The guy will not commit. They were asking him about what's the difference between a group of protesters and a group of Republicans or something like that. And he would not commit.
That was the part about the protesters. If they put themselves at risk, or would he say that they were at risk for the virus?
Yeah.
And he would not commit to answering that statement at all. He just totally tried to.
Yeah, he just wouldn't. He would not answer directly. No. And I'm not here to choose.
I'm not qualified to. Yeah. That's not my.
I'm a public health official. Okay, so that appealing to one's own authority is it's a fallacy in debate. Did you ever take debate class?
Yes, I did.
It's actually something you're not allowed to do. Well, I'm a doctor. Who the fuck cares? So the fuck what? Mm-hmm. So that's actually a fallacy.
And I play one on TV.
Right. Yeah. Anytime you appeal to your own authority in a debate, it means that you don't have a valid response to what you're being challenged with. And it's I forget what the name of that fallacy is, but something with authority. Anyway, as you can see, I didn't take debate. Sounds very
phallic, yeah.
I doubt that Fauci is particularly phallic, but
but you know who?
You know who's supposedly phallic?
Who? Yeah, potentially is.
Who?
We're rolling.
Are we segueing? Yes.
Yeah.
We're segueing.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? Come on, finish the deal.
Are we going to talk about Bill?
Bill.
Are we? Is that
which Bill are you talking about?
Well, that beautiful bombshell.
The famous Bill.
That beautiful bombshell of a Bill.
Well, we are looking at a painting of Bill Clinton in a blue dress with red high heels on, which is the painting that until recently hung in the New Mexico ranch home of Mr. Jeffrey Epstein, who Epsteined himself about a year ago. But we need to pull that up on a screen cap view so that you can see what it looks like. So there's, let's see, he was our 43rd president, right? No, this was Clinton, Bush, 42nd president? 41st president? I don't remember.
I got it.
Somebody post a comment and tell me which frickin' president number he was. At any rate, there is former President Bill Clinton wearing a blue dress that resembles precisely the blue dress in which Monica Lewinsky received a shot.
Yes.
A shot from Mr. Bill Clinton. And
in the Oval Office.
Isn't it weird that Jeffrey Epstein actually has a painting of Bill Clinton wearing Monica Lewinsky's blue dress in his home with a pair of red shoes on, which the red shoes is apparently that's some kind of a pedophile tradition or ritual tradition with the red shoes. Not sure exactly how, but there he is.
Yeah. And
trying to dig a little bit deeper on the issue of censorship around child sex trafficking in general, but in particular, the imagery that's on Google Maps and Apple Maps and so forth. Because there's a lot of inconsistencies and a lot of things have been pasted in and photoshopped into Epstein's properties.
Yeah.
At the New Mexico ranch, which is north of Stanley, New Mexico, which is a property that he owned, I understand, until his estate finally was discharged recently, and he doesn't own it anymore. His Epstein Island, which is, of course, his pedophile island in, I guess that's down by the U.S. Virgin Islands, right?
In St. James. Yeah.
Or St. Thomas. Yeah. Little St. James Island is what it's called. But this is a guy who had Bill Clinton and many other high-profile elite celebrities on his airplane.
Yep.
And we also understand that his airplane landed in St. Thomas and then helicoptered or boated from St. Thomas to his little fantasy island. But now there's additional evidence that, and this is damning evidence in my opinion, that Bill Clinton was not only a passenger on that airplane, but also now we know went to Epstein Island multiple times.
Yeah, it was not just one plane trip.
Nope.
It was multiple flight logs.
And the allegation from one of Epstein's sex slaves is that Bill Clinton had sex with minors on that island. Is anybody surprised by any of this?
No. But at the same time, I think about when the whole Lewinsky thing came out, how shocked were we then hearing all of that information, So I think, and over the years, there's been, a little bit of a damaged character to begin with.
What do you mean by damaged character?
Well, the way people view, I view him differently ever since then.
Oh yeah, he's an asshole. There's no question. If he,
I totally think of cigars differently now.
Yeah, well, if he was willing to perjure himself, then over something that was legal, okay, having sex with an intern in the Oval Office while in terrible taste and unethical, right, was legal, and he lied about it.
Perjured himself.
He perjured himself.
Exactly.
And now he's lying about the multiple trips that he took to Epstein Island. Of course he's going to deny that he went there because he literally perjured himself. If he can get away with that, he can get away with denying that this happened as
Negative.
well.
I see a whole... Oh, there's a huge shift that's happening. Huge shift.
Okay. You want to talk about the Great Awakening for a moment?
Well, I mean, you can talk about that. I just have my own. I just have, I'm going through it myself too, because I'll be honest. And I've told you several times, like, I, especially being intuitive, prefer to live in a bubble. I try to shelter and protect myself because of the physical and emotional damage it can do to me sometimes.
Yeah.
So I try to stay in my happy little world.
Yeah.
And then as recently I kind of stepped outside of the bubble and I am going through what I think a lot of people, I know it's nothing new to you, but for me, some of this stuff is just like, holy crap.
Well, it is pretty new to me too.
But on we have talked about so many topics, and I know this isn't in, what we were going to touch on tonight too, but I mean, just everything, like even the Schumann resonance and how all of this, like everything, I'm telling you now, people, all of this stuff is all tied together. Every single bit of it, every layer of it.
Well, let's talk about the Schumann resonance for a second, because, and I don't mean to interrupt your point, but so I'm just now learning about the Schumann resonance, and I can't tell if it's supposed to be a reflection of energy being produced by humans, or if it's supposed to be an effect
of the energy
being produced by humans. In other words, is it causing problems for humanity because it's measuring something that's affecting humanity, or is it a measure of how humanity is affecting something else?
And I think that's the great debate. And I think, there are probably people that are very well versed on it and could answer that. But I equated it back to Ghostbusters the other night when I was trying to explain the way that I view it is like the original Ghostbusters movie when they had the ectoplasm and Dan Aykroyd, and they're there and they start yelling at the slime that they had gathered, and it got pissed off and it started showing a reaction.
So it was feeding back off of their energy.
It was feeding off of their energy.
Yeah.
And
so you think the Schumann resonance is kind of like the ectoplasm.
And exactly. It's no... in metaphysics, we're all vibrational beings and we all vibrate at certain levels. Like attracts like. The laws of attraction. If the people that we attract into our life, we attract people that are vibrating at around the same frequency that we are. So if somebody begins to grow and vibrate at a higher level, then they outgrow that person. It's kind of how relationships work. Think of the earth like that. But
that's not the sole reason why relationships fail. It's just it's a possible reason.
No, yeah. I'm just using this metaphorically as in terms of growth. Okay. So the higher the vibration becomes and you have lower vibration, it's going to create friction.
Yeah.
Okay. So
that almost seems like what's going on between the two, I guess, prevailing political extremes right now, because I've never seen things more opposite than they are today.
And it's not just in the United States. This is a global issue. This is a global thing that is going on a global scale. And this, I'm getting all hot talking about it. This vibration it's spiritual warfare. I'm gonna throw it out there. I'm gonna go that way. It is.
Yeah. Which shouldn't surprise anybody. Spiritual warfare has been going on since the beginning, since the fall, and
it is. We are in a battle right now.
Yeah.
And it's not just a political battle. It's a battle it's not a battle between races. It's not a battle between countries.
It's a battle between spiritual forces.
It is beyond us. This energy is either positive or it's negative.
So it makes you wonder then what side and what energy field the big tech sensors live in. Where do they live? Okay, because what they're doing is
what do I believe?
Well, look at what's on the screen right now. We've got a picture of the famous tennis court on Epstein Island.
Low vibrational energy.
Okay, that's a non-existent tennis court that only exists on Google Maps, and we've asked over and over and we've already demonstrated and proven that this is not a real tennis court. Nobody needs to even offer that or debate that, and it's been proven 50 times over. There's a zillion videos on it. But our question is, who the fuck is censoring this stuff, and what side are they on, knowing what this island is used for or was used for? Where in the world does some engineer or content manager at Google get off putting a fake tennis court? And you can tell by the image that it's fake because it's bent. Yeah. And it's the wrong color, and there's a zillion different reasons why. And we're actually going to show you what existed at that site, where the tennis court was pasted in. But
And-
I didn't mean
yeah.
to interrupt you, Jasmine. Go ahead.
No. And I mean, if we're talking about the tennis court, I'm hoping that you're going to put up the image that you were able to locate that confirmed our previous video.
Yep. Well, this is, first of all, in our previous video on Epstein Island, which is, go back about 4 videos because it was the first one that we touched on the Lauren DeMolo case. And in that video, we showed the entire island. We showed some of the excellent drone footage. I forget the name of the guy that produced the drone footage, but it's excellent. I'll try to link it up in the notes on the video because his channel is amazing. He's done maybe 20 or 30 drone flybys of the island, probably from a boat nearby or something. Excellent stuff. But pursuant to that, we went ahead and I started digging in different sources to try to find out what other imagery was out there, because I'm thinking, okay, if this tennis court is fake, the real image is out there somewhere. So, I started with the other major mapping platform, which is Apple Maps, right? And when I first started looking into Apple Maps, it occurred to me that this looks exactly the same, although the colors are a little different. But then
Still
again,
looks fake.
it still looks fake. But then again, all of the colors look different. This is just a different photographic. This almost looks like celluloid photography, maybe, as opposed to digital photography. I doubt that that's the case, of course, but they're also old photos. You can see that the dome, the gold dome, is still here on the Epstein Temple and so on. But then when you go into the 3D map of the island, now this is where things start getting curious. Instead of a tennis court,
There's my goosebumps.
there's a courtyard.
Yep.
And these map data are from roughly the same time period. They both have the same copyright date on it, although we know from the drone footage that neither the courtyard nor the tennis court is still there. There's a couple things to keep in mind here. The way these roads work on this island is really hard to explain, but you can see that there's some of this white gravelly stuff in this courtyard, and that also exists over here on the left. And for those that are listening to the podcast, we're looking at an image from Apple Maps 3D view of the tennis court spot on Epstein Island, which in this case isn't a tennis court at all. It's some kind of a courtyard or ritualistic area
Well,
that is
and I wanted
surrounded
to-
by a trench wall.
Yeah.
So
and
that
I
it
wanted
can't be
to
seen
say,
from
like,
the outside.
previously in that prior episode, we were looking at an image that was simply just a grass area with, there was nothing there.
Well,
it was
on
just like bulldozed grass with
Yeah.
the large.
On the drone footage, there's construction vehicles sitting there like
Right.
they've just completely bulldozed this whole area out.
And I was adamant and kept pointing. I was like, there is an altar there. There's an altar right there, and you can, anybody that wants to go back on that footage and see that, that is what I was talking about. That is the area that I was pointing at, and I truly believe that that's the reason why they have the high walls, because they did really bad stuff in there.
Yeah.
Really bad stuff.
So, yeah, otherwise, why would you need to hide it, right? The reason that there's
And why
a
would
trench
you
wall,
bulldoze it?
and why would you bulldoze it? Exactly. And it makes you wonder, like, who
I
gave that
really-
order, right?
Well, and I've been thinking about some of this, and I really think that some things are maybe starting to surface where we're starting to, or if it hasn't, I can't imagine that it hasn't already happened, but I really believe that if it hasn't in the near future, you're going to start to see excavation of not just the island, but of areas around the ranch, that they are going to be looking for bodies.
So here's another interesting area here. Before we get into the Bill Clinton, Ghislaine Maxwell story, I want to just show you that this is the map imagery from another section of the island. That it's basically a small harbor with a road leading to it, and that road wraps around and goes up to Epstein Temple. Now, this is the checkerboard pattern where it appears on both Google Maps and Apple Maps that that a large percentage of this has been censored or concealed from view. Mm-hmm. But then when you go into the 3D view and take a look at it, which these graphics are just gorgeous, by the way, on Apple Maps. But when you go and zooming in on it here, you can see that it is not, in fact, censored on the 3D view, and that there's a structure that looks quite a bit different from what's visible on
Google Map.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's not a lot you can do in terms of zooming in and out here, but this appears to be an elevated structure because there's stairs leading up to it. And then down here is at the end of this roadway is what appears to be a little beachhead where you could get into the water. Not sure what that's about, but it's very, very curious. And everything on this island is. I would encourage everybody who's interested to take a look at some of the videos that are out there about this island and do your own discovery. But the Ghislaine Maxwell documents being unsealed and Ghislaine Maxwell naming names. It's actually not Ghislaine naming names. It's the woman that was one of Epstein's sex slaves by the name of Jufrey. And she's been very vocal. She's come out and directly accused Prince Andrew of, being one of her clients and so on. Mm-hmm. But it says, this is from the New York Post, Bill Clinton denies visiting Jeffrey Epstein's private island. Former President Bill Clinton denied ever visiting Jeffrey Epstein's private Caribbean island in a statement Friday. Surprise, surprise. A day after allegations that he had been there with, quote, 2 young girls surfaced in newly unsealed court documents, which are the documents from that defamation case. Quote, the story keeps changing, the facts don't. President Clinton has never been to the island, Clinton spokesperson Angel Urania tweeted Friday. I want to say urethra, but I try to pronounce it correctly. In a statement to Newsweek, Urania added that Clinton had not spoken to Epstein in more than a decade before trafficking allegations were lodged at him. I don't think that's accurate either. On Thursday, statements that Epstein accuser Virginia Giuffre made to 2 lawyers in 2011 were unsealed in a now settled defamation case against alleged Madam Ghislaine Maxwell. In the documents, Giuffre claimed to have seen Clinton on the island and that he spent the night in one of Epstein's houses there. Quote, I remember asking Jeffrey, what's Bill Clinton doing here, kind of thing, and he laughed it off and said, he owes me a favor, Giuffre said. Quote, he never told me what favors they were. I never knew. I didn't know if he was serious. It was just a joke, she said. In a 2016 deposition in the case, Giuffre detailed the, quote, constant orgies that happened on the island while she was with Epstein and Maxwell. Quote, one occasion stands out. Models were flown in. There were orgies held outside by the pool. She said the girls were, quote, beautiful, tall, some were blonde, some were sandy brown. The girls, she said, spoke in a European language that she thought was either Russian or Czechoslovakian. And, that actually just sounds like Bill Clinton, right? Nothing like an orgy with a bunch of models from Russia and Czechoslovakia. But, of course, Bill Clinton didn't do that. Didn't you think it was a little off-putting that all of the biggest technology CEOs in the world were on a Zoom call with Congress? Like, how little respect do they have for Congress that they couldn't show up and wear a mask like everybody else that was in that room? I mean, just the condescension is off the charts.
Well, when somebody's netting $60 billion off of a pandemic, then why should you show up?
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, the guy, somebody speculated that he earned $500 million while he was sitting there. You're talking about Jeff Bezos. That he earned $500 million just sitting there. I don't think he actually earned that much during those several hours, but it's a good point, right?
It's so many people are suffering right now.
Yep.
And to witness,
it's arrogant. The guy does not care. He doesn't care about humanity. It's
not just him. It goes back to all those layers that I was talking about. It's just it makes me absolutely sick to see that they think that they are so above the law.
They think they're superhuman.
Well, and are they?
I certainly hope not.
I mean,
I know there's a lot of theories about people being lizards and this and that, but here's the thing.
We're not going down that route. But
I'm not prepared with research on that.
No, but I'm just saying that there's also talking about that the forces of negative and positive. I do not.
So again,
they're not.
Your thesis is that these people are being controlled by negative powers.
Not that they're being controlled by them. I just feel that they are negative.
Okay.
They are completely vibrating at a level of negativity.
But they've been incredibly successful in the process. So they're doing things that are destructive to humanity, but have yet had an incredible amount of success along the way, because they were at one point, in my opinion, doing things that were helpful.
Okay, well, if we want to go, I typically wouldn't say this, but let's just go the biblical route. The 7 deadly sins.
Okay.
What? Greed.
Yeah, well, greed is definitely one of them, right? So is gluttony, and that's just a form of greed.
Not showing up, sloth.
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, there's 2 there, sloth and greed. So you're saying that Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg, because by virtue of not showing up in person, are slothy. That sounds like something Trump would say. Slothy Mark Zuckerberg.
Who knows? Maybe Trump will watch this and he'll want to take that for one of his tweets. I seriously doubt that President
Trump is going to watch anything on our YouTube channel. I'm sure some $15 an hour Cognizant employee is watching it, though, getting ready to censor us off Facebook and Twitter.
Well, but before that happens, then let's shout out to one of our favorite fans, Precious Frito.
Precious Frito 3.
Yes.
In case we get censored.
What's up, guy?
Well, hey, we love you, man. And, well, we may as well get all our shout-outs out of the way. Ken and Lauren,
yes.
Paradise After Dark podcast. It was really fun working with you and producing that Lauren Dumoulin episode, which was received very, very well. Do we switch topics at this point? Or are we going to finish up this? Let's finish up the Zorro talk, or the Epstein Zorro talk,
all right,
and the Epstein Island talk. And maybe then we can bag on that other subject before because I think we're up to about an hour now.
Yeah.
And we'll
wrap this up here.
Yeah. But at any rate, so getting back to the Epstein thing, we're going horizontal instead of forward tonight, guys. It's very organic on Trouble in Paradise.
Well, I think that some of these thoughts and processing through some of these layers, even when it comes to this, involves some of this back and forth.
Yeah. Well, everything is connected somehow, one way or the other. All these different things that we're talking about have their connection points.
Yeah.
Right. So we're
6 degrees of separation.
Well, that's just with people knowing each other. But
exactly. So you tell me how, when you take that theory of 6 degrees of separation, how all of this isn't in one way or another connected.
Right. Well, and how do you have a guy like Jack or a guy like Mark Zuckerberg or a guy like these guys know they have the dirt on everybody that we're talking about that's connected to this pedophile thing, to the Epstein thing. We didn't even touch about on the Twitter hack. That was going to be our Florida man story because the guy they busted for the Twitter hack is a teenager from Florida. Apparently, he was the ringleader that accessed the personal accounts of 150 blue icon celebrities, which I would pay money to see what was in some of those DMs and things. But at any rate, we must digress and get back on track here. And there's just a couple things I wanted to point out on the
ranch.
This is the ranch north of Stanley, New Mexico, that belonged to Jeffrey Epstein. And there's a couple curiosities about the Google Map imagery. There's other videos already out there about the curiosity, so I don't want to spend too much time on that. My biggest concern and there's a lot of concerns here, but my biggest concern is that here's the main entrance to the ranch, right? You've got an asphalt road that goes all the way around this ridge. Mm-hmm. You've got a gated corral for security vehicles and things like that, I'm assuming. And then you also have a structure here, which no doubt has security cameras and so forth on it.
Yep.
And then you have a paved road that goes all the way out to the main drag.
Right.
Now, one of the most interesting things about Zorro Ranch, Jeffrey Epstein's ranch, is the fact that there's all these little other roads. Mm-hmm. Now, I get it. There's not a lot of other stuff around. But if you have a big, big mansion like this, and most people are going to be coming and going from the main drag, why in the world do you have all these other little trails? Like, okay, so now you have this labyrinth garden in the back, but look at all the entries, all the entry points and track patterns and trails that lead to and from this labyrinth garden in the back of his ranch home. Why in the world would you need a trail in the rear that goes all the way?
Well, I was going to say, does this go down to the...
It goes all the way back to Zorro Ranch Road, but never crosses with it. See, here's Zorro Ranch Road.
Yeah.
This over here is not Zorro Ranch Road. This is Zorro Ranch Road. But you can see this trail that goes out of the back goes all the way...
Where's the runway?
To the other side of this ridge, and then does not intersect Zorro Ranch Road. Now, if you need to go north, you can go on Zorro Ranch Road. If you need to go south, you can go on Zorro Ranch Road. It's paved. Why in the world would anybody prefer to take a caveman route? And why in the world does that caveman route lead to the rear of Jeffrey Epstein's ranch home?
Either smuggling or sneaking something in or out.
That's the conclusion that I came to as well. All right. So, and the thing is, if you zoom out, now this ranch land is, I mean, we're talking thousands and thousands of acres, all owned by Jeffrey Epstein. Mm-hmm. You mentioned the airstrip.
Yes.
This is the airstrip here. We're looking at a Google map of the airstrip on Jeffrey Epstein's New Mexico ranch. Now, what was the point that you wanted to make about the airstrip?
When you had previously showed it, you have all of those little, like close to it, you have like that access road that runs alongside, and then you had like almost like at some point there was like a connection with what would maybe be like a receiving area, or where there, if you had like private security vehicles, you had all those little offshoot roads off of that.
Yeah,
that one road.
Those are visible. I call those turnoffs.
Right.
If you look at the way...
Now, was that by the
little town here?
Because you had to go through, like, it was like almost like if you went through locks, like a prison.
Yes.
You had to like enter one lock.
Oh yeah, this is the main entrance to the ranch is right here
to get through the next lock.
Exactly. Yep. So it's a stage entry from the main road. There's all kinds of turnoffs where it's clear that they have been parking vehicles alongside the road, but the angle of the turnoffs is consistent with a security vehicle that's being parked so that it can be used for a pursuit. Because nobody drives the wrong way on the road. It's right side drive in North America. So the way these turnoffs are curved, these vehicles would have been parked so that they could pursue somebody heading westbound on the main road going into the ranch. And that's weird. There's so many weird things about this setup that we don't even have time to go into the.
Well, and
oh, you know what else is
why
interesting? Some of the land surrounding this area, not much of it, but some of it is owned by Bill Richardson, former New Mexico governor, who also was confirmed as being a visitor to Epstein Island.
Yep, you had mentioned that today to me too.
A lot of the other land around here is owned by the King family, which is a prominent family that has a lot of connections with mining and things like that. And so you can see that there's evidence of hydraulic fracturing or fracking going on, which is what these tarps and lakes and so forth are. But this is still on Epstein's property. So whatever interest the Kings had in fracking extended into his ranch land. But you can see this is a giant piece of land.
Yeah, it's huge, and it's out in the middle of nowhere, just like an island would be. So, you know, yeah, he had a New York City penthouse, but then
and he had a Palm Beach mansion too that was right on the water.
Right. So
but those things are the size of they're tiny.
Right. So if you want to be extremely obscure and protect clients.
Yep. And look at the way this thing is nestled away between two ridges.
I know. It's almost the same kind of setup, but not exactly as the island is.
Well, it's covered on all sides.
Yeah, it's totally protected.
Remote. Yep.
It's remote. It allows for privacy. It's both places. I mean, if you had that much money, I can understand if you owned an island, but if you have that much money, why are you going to build something out in the middle of nowhere?
Well, I mean, I could understand why, if somebody really just wanted to get away from it all, they would build a place like this. But the shit that went on here is, I mean,
that's the point that I'm trying to drive there.
Yeah.
Is the why. And the reason why would be because you don't want people to know and see and have access to and have high security and this is Google Map, correct?
Yeah, this is Apple Maps now.
Oh, this is Apple. Oh, that's right, because Google was...
well, there's some differences.
Right. On the Google Map, it was essentially bulldozed down that garden, and on Apple Map, it showed the garden.
Well, and there's a retaining wall or some kind of fence around the entire labyrinth garden. Mm-hmm. So we're looking at Jeffrey Epstein's ranch again, and we're back to looking at the rear of his... compound where there's this labyrinth garden, and on the Apple Maps imagery you can see that there's bushes inside the labyrinth that appear to be flat as a piece of paper on the Google Maps version, and very oddly colored as well. The Google Maps, and there's some debris and some things. It's almost like they just completely ripped everything out of here. But there's markings left in the ground that are almost like they're almost like the kind of things that you would draw before you were getting ready to build something. Mm-hmm. But we know that the Google imagery is actually newer than the Apple imagery, right. So that doesn't make any sense either.
Well, and then that's when I said I wonder if it's not at a point where maybe some excavating is going on, or
where's the construction machinery then? You know what I mean? Where is it? You zoom out, you don't see any construction vehicles.
Well, I just mean in potential trying to obtain damning evidence or recovery.
You know, something else, too, that I noticed that's consistent between the ranch and the island is Epstein seemed to be really fond of amphitheaters because he has a amphitheater courtyard, or what appears to look like an amphitheater courtyard to me. Or maybe this is just a place where they had parties and so forth. But doesn't this kind of look almost like a theater to you?
Oh, yeah.
With a stage at the head of it?
Yeah.
There's a
yeah,
very
of course.
similar...
Or if you like, if you wanted to have a beautiful, wedding on Zora Ranch.
I think they did stuff like that too. By the way, here's the censorship of
There's those hash
of that
marks.
one section on Google Maps. So weird. Like, what in the world is that about? I'm gonna have to find out if they use that pattern to censor anything else. In fact, I'd like to do a video just about Google Maps censorship. But where is this little... There's like a little seaside theater that they built on one of these spots on the island. Anyway, I guess it's neither here nor there. We've got some interesting stuff coming up on the show for those of you that are in the live stream right now. We're still figuring out our technology, so we don't have the chat window up and all that fancy stuff like all the pros have. But we're going to keep chasing a lot of this stuff, and we're going to keep having fun. We decided that we were going to work on the Lauren Dumoulin missing person case, and we got basically hate mail and just we really had a tough time with people who were claiming to be friends of Lauren or family members of Lauren or close to her. And I'm not going to say who they were, but come on, man. Like, we're just trying to help. Like, so we're done with that case. We're moving on from it because they clearly don't want our help, and they didn't like the spotlight one bit. And but we are going to follow up on it at some point in the next few months. So that's one thing that we got coming up. Steve Deshabi from the Dead Files is going to be joining us in a couple of weeks, so that'll be a lot of fun.
Yep, he'll be on with his buddy Ray Marino, and they
a couple of funny, goofy guys, right?
Yes, yeah, that's going to be a great episode because the two of them they're New York Italian and just they have
New Yorkers, my favorite.
They have little to no filter, and Steve actually asked me if we have a rating on the show.
Yeah, it's rated F.
So expect to see probably a lot of fireworks in that episode that we can't wait for.
And as always, if you'd like to reach us, you can get us at Tipcast239 on Twitter and
Trouble239 on Instagram, trouble@trouble239.com to email us. Like, subscribe, and follow us on Trouble in Paradise on YouTube. Audio versions are available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Stitcher.
So thank you for following us, and please suggest us to a friend. Like, share, subscribe, woo! And everybody stay out of trouble. We're going to keep the live stream going for a couple more minutes.
Yep.
But we are going to end the podcast here. Everybody, stay out of trouble. Live streamers, don't go anywhere.